Welcome back to The Founder. I'm here with Ismail from Univiser. I'm here to talk to you about something super unique. How are you doing, Ismail?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Sunday morning.
Okay. First of all, love your outfit. You look smashing.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You look beautiful as well.
Thank you very much. And the glasses as well, matching the outfit.
Thank you.
So tell me about you and what your company Univiser is all about.
So my name is Ismail. I'm the founder and CEO of a edtech startup called Univiser. So Univiser is it's a platform which enables prospective students to connect with a current student or recent alumni of a university prior to enrollment.
Right.
So, but we go on a B2B white label model. So our customer is actually the university. So we embed our solution to them, and then when their prospective students visit their websites, they can talk to a current student and find out what it's like, the culture, the education, and get it from a real student, prior to signing up for that course or university.
Right. And how does this actually work? Like, how do you tie up with these universities?
We directly approach universities' marketing departments because this is a lead generation tool for them. So we pitch to them, we would maybe even run a small POC or like a small pilot. And if they are happy and the students are happy, so far we've had no customer, we had zero churn. So all the customers that have come on board for us are quite happy with our service. And we are also now exporting our software out of Sri Lanka as well. We have a lot of foreign clients as well now.
Oh, okay. So basically this is for the universities here in Sri Lanka?
Anywhere in the world. So that's the beauty of a tech product. Sitting in my living room, I can even sell software to a university in Dubai, UK, Azerbaijan. Anything is possible in this tech world.
Okay, interesting. And what really got you into this? What inspired you?
So actually, I never had the intention to do a startup or anything of that sort. So just taking back a few years, I went abroad to study. So I studied at the University of Nottingham in the UK. And when I was going abroad, I found the process very difficult. It was a lot of asymmetric information. So I always wanted to ask a lot of friends and family, for advice and, guidance. And when I went to the UK, the first couple of months was, quite hard for me. It was very depressing, very homesick. I was feeling very lonely. And I found out, a lot of international students also were facing similar problems and challenges.
Right.
And so fast forward 3 years at university, and I got elected student union president at Nottingham. So I was the first international student to be elected. And when I got elected, I decided I wanted to do something for the international community at Nottingham. So I set up Nottingham's first buddy program. Where we paired new students with student volunteers, and it became very successful.
Okay.
And when I came back, then I moved back to Sri Lanka. I was working for an IT company. And then I decided, hey, this big problem was not only specific for Nottingham, but universities around the world are facing this challenge. It's very hard for me to go into each individual university and do this. But why don't I create like a software or a product where I could easily scale it up and help universities? So that was actually how Univiser started. So it was a multiple occurrences happen in my life, which accumulated to form Univiser.
Oh, wow. I mean, I totally get that. The anxiety of going into a new uni, not knowing anyone. I mean, the pressure is real for sure. But yeah, a program like this, really interesting. And I feel like a lot of people can make use of it. And how many universities have you tied in with so far?
Currently, we are working with 12 plus universities now, and we are growing every day. We are also talking with potential investors as well right now for a funding round from a foreign investor as well. And to be honest, the pandemic has been really good for us in terms of our business. So I think it was been a blessing in disguise, where when the pandemic hit, when students, when all universities were moving to digital recruitment strategies, and we had been positioned quite well to ride the pandemic wave. So every day we are signing up new universities, and the amount of students we are processing also is increasing day by day.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's really cool. Congratulations on
Yeah,
that.
thanks.
How long have you had this company with you, Univiser?
So I think it's almost now 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's hard to. So we went live at the January of last year with our first customer. But prior to that, it was all R&D. So almost 2 years of R&D, designing prototypes, testing out with people. So a lot of was in stealth mode. So I would say we really went live January 2020. So within
Okay.
this 1.5 years, we've grown quite a bit.
And what has been a challenging moment in your career?
I think for me personally, since I come from a non-tech background, so my background is like econ and maths.
All right.
So I had no idea about coding or technology of that sort. So it was a bit of a steep learning curve for me at the beginning. But luckily I had like a good support network, a good community, good mentors, and also like Coursera, like this online learning platforms where I learned about project management. And my former colleagues at work, they have been very supportive. So that's how I read a lot of books too. So I think that has been quite a challenging thing, because coming from a non-tech background and running a tech company, you need to work extra hard to kind of understand what happens under the hood.
Right.
So that's been a bit of a challenge for me every day, because like something breaks, or there is maintenance,
Yeah.
and developers say something and you don't really understand, you have to Google it. But I've been enjoying it. I've learned a lot in this last couple of years.
Another challenge that a lot of startups have is, of course, having this idea, putting it out, and maybe like struggling with finance. Was finance any difficult for you, and have banks been helpful?
I was so I never built a product first. So how I first got my first customer was I initially sketched some prototypes and designed on a piece of paper. And I went and pitched to a big university here in Sri Lanka. And I said, hey, I have this idea. I did this at Nottingham, and I feel this could work. If I build it, will you buy it?
Okay.
And then they got back to me and said, you know what, this is great, Ismail. We'll buy it. So then I knew, okay, I have a customer who's willing to pay. So now I can take this risk and build it. So it's RI, Royal Institute of Colombo. They saw the product, the piece of paper, and they were amazing. They were super supportive. They were my first customer. And then that's how I slowly built up my team, because I knew that there's going to be a paying customer. And also government has been quite supportive for me, and also the banks. So I was there was this scheme called Arambamu scheme, which I applied, and I got a 1.5 million interest-free loan from the government. And it was quite challenging trying to convince a bank for a tech product how to but that process made me really improve my internal processes. And so they were quite supportive, and they helped me. And I think I was quite lucky to get a good manager at that bank, at BOC. So when people think government, state bank, no chance. But actually, if you really are passionate and you go and talk to them, you pitch to them, and you sell them an idea, and you sell them the vision, and say, look, this has good export potential and everything, I think it's possible to do. So yeah, it happened to me, and I'm confident others also
can try.
Yeah,
exactly.
should try. And it took about 6 months. So I had the patience to go behind banks.
Yeah, because like when people say approaching a bank, I mean, there are so many people who would advise against it, because they would say, oh, it's hard, don't even try. But if you just go and talk, just like you did,
and
it's
also
possible.
The other reason why I chose to go for this little bit of bank funding is because of the pressure. Because if you because every month, end of the month, I had to pay my salaries, I had to pay my bank payments, because if I don't pay, I'm in the crib. So I have a big pressure to make sure my company performs well, to pay these obligations.
Right.
So I think that has put good pressure in me to run every day. But whereas if I had taken maybe like equity funding, I don't think I would have had that much of pressure.
Yeah.
Or at least at that point when I was just starting off my product. So I think sometimes you need to, if you're really serious about your product, you will somehow make it happen. So I think that I don't advise to take large amounts of money from the bank, because startups are very risky. but a small
Have a
amount
plan and then-
amount is a good pressure.
And what's the marketing strategy you rely on up to this very day?
Because our product is B2B, we have not spent a single cent yet on any social media or any marketing. Most of Bean has been, directly approaching clients and telling them, hey, I'm sure it's not something. It's quite a unique product in the market. We don't have almost no competitors. So we directly approach them and we try to explain to them, hey, this is what we are trying to do. It's not a CRM or it's not an emailing software. And so directly go to the decision maker and just pitch and say so, because they will give you feedback. And I feel you should go boots on the ground. Don't just rely on doing like a small ad or anything. Just directly pick up the phone, and that's right. I just pick up the phone, send email.
Yeah.
2-3 months, I'm like chasing people to get a meeting. So it's like dating. Like you have to be a bit persistent if you really want it happen. That's my marketing strategy. Directly try to get a meeting, call them, call few other people, and get a decision maker.
Persistence is key.
Yeah, you have to
be
at it.
Exactly.
If you don't sell it, no one's going to sell it for you.
True, that is true. I gotta give a big thank you going out to the Colombo Cooperative for providing us this space, and they're all about creating modern workspaces for companies of all sizes. And they have a question for you, Ismail. They would like to know what community means to you and how you build it.
I think community is very important, especially when you're starting a startup, because it's very depressing at times, because it's not always highs. There are a lot of days which are very challenging and very difficult. But if you have a startup community, or if you have other, somewhat of co-working space, you can see other people also suffering, so you feel like, okay, fine, this is normal. Okay?
Share the suffering.
So you share the suffering, because you only hear success stories and all, you get very depressed that, okay, what am I doing something wrong?
Exactly.
But if you see other people who are also your age are kind of struggling, and then you're like, Machang, how did you solve this problem, or what did you do like this? You can learn from them and you can collaborate. So it's very important to have good support network, community, mentors, around you, so you can succeed together. So it's always collaboration over competition. Nobody's here to compete with you. If they can do it better than you, that means you need to step up your game. You need to stop worrying when somebody stops copying you. That's when you're going to go down.
Well said, well said. Now that you're your own boss, would you ever work for someone else?
Well, since I have a vision for my own startup, what I want to do 5-10 years, I don't think I would work especially full-time for anyone else, because I have a good action plan what I want to do. And also once you really understand, once you enjoy, it's quite a bit of an addictive thing, it's kind of becomes a way of life. So I feel I'm not sure if I would work under
for
someone
anyone else,
at least for the next 10 years. Maybe once I have my exit and I have time, then maybe I might go and join as a consultant and help someone else boost their business.
Probably.
But not go and...
But if it wasn't for Univiser, what would you be doing?
So I was actually contemplating doing a master's abroad.
Okay.
And I was looking online, and I found this process difficult as well. So then...
There's a lot of difficulty out there.
Yeah, it's actually quite challenging, because you're spending a large amount of money going to a new country. And you can never trust the brochures and the marketing people. They will sell you the sun and the moon, and you just go there and so my opportunity cost was actually doing a master's. So I would have probably been doing a master's if not for Univiser, because I was like, okay, if I'm going to spend X amount for my master's, I'd rather take that money and invest in a startup which I'm passionate about. If my startup doesn't succeed, then let's say I wanted to spend X amount, just think of that as a real life learning. What I'm anyway going to spend for my master's. If it succeeds, amazing. I have a business with a good cash flow and people. Even if it's not, that would be a better learning than spending 1 year in my master's. So that was my opportunity cost when I decided whether to start my startup or go abroad for a master's.
Interesting. I would like to know what drives you. What really gets you out of bed in the morning?
I think, once you try to find something what you really like, you actually don't sleep at night. You are always thinking about it.
Yeah.
So there was a saying, I think, that dreams are not what you have at night. It's actually what keeps you up at night. So every day I'm always thinking about, okay, how to improve the product, how to add better value for my customers, for my users. And over time it becomes part and parcel of your life. Like every time I meet my friends, I'm always talking about Univiser, talking about this university, that university. It's the kind of passion chooses you, I feel. That's the you shouldn't force yourself. It happens naturally. When it happens naturally, you're like, okay, I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
I'm not, automatically my challenges wake me. I'm excited to go to work, and not like, oh, I need now motivation. I need to read a book. I need to go for a talk to get motivated.
And what would you say is your definition of success?
See, success is something which is it's always constantly changing. You should not be like, oh yeah, I had an exit, or I raised money, I'm successful now. It's like a life, there's no finish line, success, and there has no ending. So for me, is like, is to have a good family life, to have some little bit money to, go on a holiday and go on a trip, to have good health, and to have a good night's sleep. Because no point having so much money if you can't enjoy a good sleep, or if you're always constantly in like anxiety and stress. So you should strive for a good balance in anything you do, and not just business, right? Because a lot of startup founders are divorced and they're having very broken homes. So it's rather better to
balance.
And the statistics is the startup founders have a long relationship with their investors than with their spouses. So I hope I don't get divorced or anything, but it's something which I always think about, that not to give too much energy to the startup. Always think about family, and think about your friends, go on trips, and so then you really enjoy life.
And you have like peace of mind.
You
as
have
well.
peace of mind. Yeah, correct. You're right.
Now, assuming there are universities out there watching this right now, how would they get in contact with you, and how do they reach out to Univiser?
So our website is www.univiser.io, or you could drop me an email at hello@univiser.io, and I'm happy to chat and see whether we could add value to your recruitment process.
Univiser, why Univiser? How did you come up with that name?
It was actually suggested by one of my friends. We were in Aller, and we were like brainstorming different names. And I was like, oh, it's these are like university advisors. And then my friend was like, university advisor, what about Univiser? I was like, dude, that's amazing, I love it, let's go for it. So I quickly searched online on GoDaddy to see whether the domain was available. It was available. And I was like, yeah. So that's the thing, when people think of a name, the first thing you need to do is check whether the domain is available. Because if it's not available, you do all of these things and you don't have a website. You get so
excited, and then, yeah, it's already taken.
Yeah.
It has been very inspiring, by the way. Your story is inspiring. And, I bet a lot of people feel inspired as well. Is there any kind of advice that you can give for anyone watching out there who's like, oh man, I want to be like this guy?
I think the advice I would like to give for anyone who wants to start any entrepreneurship is like a marathon. It's you need to start, and better to start young, because it's very tiring. So the longer you're at it, your chances of probability of success is better. Because it's been 3 years since I started Univiser, and only these last few months, because of the pandemic, we've been having good growth. So if I had got dissuaded after 1 year or 6 months, I wouldn't have been able to capture on this pandemic boom. So, but because I was persistent and I didn't drain myself like a camel, you conserve your energy, conserve money, manage cash flow, go talk to customers. So I was working in my other company for almost 1 year, and I was doing this side by side. I didn't quit my job immediately until I knew I have a customer, I can get some money, because it's very foolish, because I'll be out of pocket.
Yeah.
So try to do something while you're working, and then slowly transition from like work to your startup or any business. and trust me, you won't realize within 1-2 years. At least 3 years will go for you to really grasp it. And even if it doesn't succeed, it's fine, because you would have gained so much knowledge and experience where you can use it for your next venture after some time when you want to start.
Awesome. So thank you so much for talking to us today and joining us. You better check out Ismail on Univiser. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Tasha. I really enjoyed being here today.